How's it going, YouTube? It's Panda time. In this video we have the big Mamemon turbo deck going up against Creepymon with Lilith. So this is a creepy, sort of like early on you have the creepy technology, but then you still play the late game Lilith shenanigans. There's some good cards that just synergize, and like the Skull Stadium can pick up the Lilith one because she's a 7 Great Demons Lord. This is Dorkatron Prime's list, so if you guys are interested, definitely check him out on his channel. On the other hand, the Mamemon got a bunch of support in this set, and you know that 9-cost option is very explosive, very scary. We see double analog youth for the purple player early on. I mean, such a staple, you know, it almost might as well be a purple card at this point, right? As for the Mamemon deck, I'm not super familiar with it. You know, I definitely had to reread the Mamemon cards like 50 times. And I understand the basic strategy. You kind of just flood the board with Mamemons. Going with the Thundermon, whose name counts as a Mamemon. So you see the Skull Stadium can mill and pick up the Creepymon right away. Now, when you're playing against Creepymon, you have to play around it. The way you do so is try and not have 2 Digimon on the board. If you have 2, then they can summon the Chaos Luisthepanda, who can then pop one Digimon or Tamer. So you know, it's pretty strong stuff overall. That said though, like, it's easier said than done. Like, playing around that by not having 2 Digimon is like pretty hard, obviously, right? Like, every deck wants to go wide at least a little bit. So you see the Creepymon come out, there are 2 Digimon on the board. He's gonna get quite a bit of mill, and then because there's 2, he can get from the trash the Chaos Lucis. So you can see exactly the full combo, and it's pretty good. The thing about the Chaos Lucis is that, you know, he comes out, he can get the pop. He's like 12k, which is already good, and then he's also level 5. So even though you cannot Digivolve into Chaos Luisthepanda, you can Digivolve Chaos Luisthepanda into like another Creepymon. Here we have the extra effect purple, the time travel, where he took back his play, time traveled, and then went with another Creepymon. A little weird, but you know, just fun games, trying stuff out. I'm sure that they like ordered it properly, but yeah. So since there's only one Digimon, he can't go into the creepy, or he can, but he won't get the summon. We see the Bancho Mame, who can summon based on how many minions your opponent has. In this one, he gets out the Catch Mamemon, swings, dies into Lilith, which is unfortunate because he does get secure attack +1 as well. So just kind of unlucky for the Mame player. We need to see like those big plays with the option, and I feel like the Mamemon deck is pretty cool, but big might here, like it might just rely on the option and security way too much. I think it's one of those decks where like if you play against it and they have the option security, you might be like, wow, like you could lose the game for sure, right? But I wonder without it, like how much can they really do? Like now, Creepy could just swing over the Mame. He's got a bunch of cards in trash, so Mame player has to mill, which is pretty good. Plus he gets the effects from the baby, and that should also give him memory from the Skull Stadium, right? Gonna go into another Skull Stadium, mill more cards, and this time taking back the Lilith. So as you can see, like the whole deck is like the Creepymon engine wants you to trash a bunch of cards, you know, control the board with early Chaos Luisthepanda. And then while you do that, you're filling up your trash, which makes the Lilith one be super good, because then you can go into Lilith, get your Jack Raid back, you know, abuse those. And then you still have the classic like Wind Raid plus Sword to then go into more shenanigans. Pretty good stuff overall. Another thing that I do want to mention is that the cool thing about Creepymon is that he actually gives you multiple win conditions, because you can very well mill your opponent out with Creepymon. And that's actually a sick win condition. Hits into an Issy, which is honestly not the worst at this point. Creepy player is definitely in control for sure. Can opt to go into the Lilith. And then, like I said, just start doing combo shenanigans, right? Like, what is Mamemon gonna do? Okay, opts to go into another Creepymon instead. Interesting. So, gets some mill, gets the memory back from the Inheritables. And once again, forcing the opponent to mill. This time 6 cards, quite a bit. Gets into the big option, which is exactly what you want to see. And as you can see, it's pretty impactful, right? It summons 2 bodies. That's, dare I say, not bad at all. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the option can also pop bodies. but it has to be memory cost of 6 or less. So it's not going to be clear in like those big level 6s. But you can see how that would be such a big swing, right? Like you all of a sudden get 2 extra bodies, maybe pop 2 small guys. Definitely a very powerful option. Of course, like it's not splashable, you have to build your whole deck around it. Goes into the Bancho. So this time around there's 3 Digimon, so you can potentially summon 3, only gets the 1, which is still okay as far as the level 6 goes, I guess. Can swing with +1, but the Judge Devimon can just take that hit. Actually, like relatively close game, but again, only because he hit that 9-cost option in security, right? So there's no hybrid for game or anything like that. And there's 2 opposing Creepymon that at this point might be milling potentially 9 cards each when they swing, right? So as you can see, like you might get into a position where like you don't have to go for security, you can just mill your opponent out. And like maybe that doesn't work against some decks. You know, Susano could definitely stop that, for example. But it's pretty good against grindy decks. Yeah, so now he doesn't have to swing at security because like don't take the risk, right? You can swing at Digimon. Creepymon also gets a bunch of DP boost. So Creepy swings, 6 cards milled, he had another one, and that's game 1 to Creepymon. It's pretty cool because Creepymon accelerates the game state, right? Like the Creepymon player goes through their deck super quickly, and then as they make you mill, they force you to go through yours as well, right? One of the things that I like about Creepymon is that he's like pretty flexible in the way that you could play him and build him. And you know, we see people trying out like Cerberus package, we saw like hybrids, now we're seeing Lilith. So definitely, you know, give me your opinion in the comments. How do you guys feel about Creepymon and where do you think he fits best? I definitely want to try and experiment with him. We see a Skull Sediment being hard dropped, which is honestly awful, less than ideal. I think this is one of the problems with the Creepymon deck. You could definitely brick quite a bit, you know, and there is no mulligan anymore, so that hurts. Goes into the option, and from it he summons not 1 but 2 big Mamemons. And the big Mamemon can, you know, be swinging for 10k. Pretty good. I mean, 10k should survive against everything that's not a level 6, right? Also, it's just a funny Digimon. Just imagine being a big Mamemon. It's actually so funny to me. So the Creepy is gonna mill 6 because there's 3 opposing Digimon. Actually pretty good stuff. But he didn't hit a Chaos Lucemon, so it's not as explosive. But I mean, at least still does get a free body. Gonna go into a Sword Defeat. There's also a bunch of good Sword Defeat synergy in this deck. You see the Soulmon and the Skull Satamon, like they have really good inheribles. I think people are really sleeping on those cards in particular. And they really synergize so well with the rest of the deck. Like you're constantly milling from the top of your deck and getting memory while you do so. So pretty good board for purple, right? Some awkward start for sure. Big Mommy swings, again 10k not dying to anything. Hits into a mat, which can give back, I think, a rookie. Yeah, I think he needs a rookie after all these years, right? So how does Mamemon close the game out now? The Catch Mamemon is really, really cool as well. I think that's one of the best cards. It lets you put Mamemons from your hand or trash on top of your deck, which, you know, essentially gives you guaranteed targets for the option or the Bancho. And then if you do so, you get to de-Digivolve, which is actually super impactful. So I definitely think Catch Mamemon is one of the better cards. And then play with Thundermon, low cost for 6k. I guess the Mamemon deck just has like a bunch of beaters with high DP. They don't really have effects, they have no inheribles, but maybe that's fine. Maybe he can try and go for the mill once again, right? Although right now he definitely has to just start clearing the board. Creepymon also does get DP, so can essentially swing over everything in the mid to late game, which is again pretty cool. Can answer 1 body, does have 1 blocker to work with as well. But I don't think there's like a ton of removal options in this deck. It's just like the Lilith, like Jack's Raid, and I think that's about it. Like I don't think there's any Trump Swords or Fly Bullets or anything like that. I guess there's the Pendulum Flame, which can let him pop a Digimon to pop a opposing Digimon at lower level. I don't really like that card. I think it's good in security, but like I don't like the idea of playing cards just because they're good in security. Like sure, it answered a Digimon there, but at the cost of 2 memory and the level 6, right? Which is less than ideal. Thinking about a Call from Darkness to get something else back. But this is rough, right? The big Mamemon swung, they survived, they were summoned for free. Okay, so goodbye blocker. Gonna take back the Creepymon. Okay, to re-summon Creepy and get a Chaos Luce. I actually do like that play. Yeah, that's a sick play. He did a good job to clear the majority of the board, like as much as he could. Is there a Chaos Luce in the trash though? This is one of the other problems with Creepymon, is like Creepymon summoning Chaos Luce is very, very powerful. But even though he's gone through like at least half of his deck, I want to say, if there isn't a Chaos Luce in the trash, it's just infinitely worse. Right? Like imagine that was the Chaos Luce, would have popped the body, he would have been in an infinitely better position. Big Mommy swings, it's again pretty much always going to live. And at this point, I guess just keep going wide with the Mamemons. Maybe play the option, play a Nanimon and go into a big Mamemon. Okay, so there is a level 5 to work with, so there's definitely potential for shenanigans. You know, a good amount of cards in the trash, looks like at least 20. So it could be like some sort of Jack Raid, plus Lilith, plus maybe another sword. Like, there definitely is the potential for those insane plays. This is like the other side of the deck I was telling you guys about. Looks like the Lilith isn't there though, sadly. It's a bit unfortunate. Gonna go into the Skull Sadamon. It's gonna get 2 memory back from the Inheribles. You know, it's one of the things that's pretty good about this deck. Again, don't sleep on those cards. Like, they're actually really relevant effects. Gets to discard the Chaos Lucemon, but hits into an Ultimate Flare. So I guess he wanted to attack to put Chaos Lucemon in the trash, so they could then go Creepy Swing over the Mamemon, and then the Lady Devi can go into another Creepymon, which would then summon Chaos Lucemon and clear the board, and would actually keep him alive. So I really like that line of play. He was actually set up for success for sure. Hidden into the the Ultimate Flare is less than ideal, and that's actually going to be game. So basically that time around, you know, the Mamemon player was able to swarm, and the Creepy, while milling, again, no access to Chaos Luce, meant that while the Creepymons were okay, they were not nearly as powerful as they could be. So now we're going into game 3 here. Mamemon player is going to start by passing, which is, I mean, honestly, the worst possible thing to do, right? Surely, you know, his hand is just atrocious, but man, that really hurts. On the other hand, double Analog Youth is a pretty good turn 1. I mean, essentially no rookie for both players. And again, we are playing with no mulligan, so like these games are gonna happen. I do wish that mulligan come back, but we'll have to see. Both players, again, just hard dropping champions essentially. And that's one of the other things that's good about the Soulmon, is that he only costs 4 memory, which is honestly pretty manageable. Like any champion that costs 4 to play, I'm more than happy to hard play them. Gonna go with Dark Side Attack. Pretty interesting card, I'm a fan of it. It is gonna be able to clear. The problem is that a lot of level 5s are play cost 8 these days, right? Especially like all the joggers. So while in theory Dark Side Attack can clear level 5, in reality it just whiffs a lot of time. So I actually like the card a lot in the past, and I do think it's much worse these days. We still do not see a rookie for the Mamemon player, and finally we see one for Creepymon. Move to the Skull Sadamon, and this could be a very early Creepymon. Yeah, mill 4. Is there a Chaos Luce in the trash? Nope. I think he drew it right before. That's pretty funny. So again, same thing we're talking about, right? Creepymon comes out, you get a free level 5, like that's good, it's not bad at all. But if that level 5 was Chaos Lucemon, the game is potentially over on the spot, right? Instead, Chaos Mami gets to play. Oh, that actually hurts so bad. Not only did he lose both his options, which is like the best card in his deck, but he also sent a Chumon, one of his only rookies, to the trash. So actually some atrocious mills for really both players, I suppose. Lilith's gonna come out, go into the sword. Now, see, like you go into a sword and you're like, oh, it costs 6, but because of the Inheribles, it's gonna let him gain the memory with the Skull Sadamon. Can then go into the promote, summon a blocker as well. Now sword can swing in the same turn, take the Lilith back, say goodbye, bunch of Mamemon. Hits into nothing. Creepymon can swing, again force the mill. He finally has the Chaos Luce in the trash. At this point I don't think it's really needed. We see another rookie being trashed, so maybe Mamemon player will just never ever get a rookie at this point around. Does hit into the option though. It only summons 1, but that means that he gets a pop. Has to be on a play cost 6 or less though, so I guess either one of the champions or the Gassimon. And I guess the other thing about that card is that, like, okay, let's say you're a Mamemon player, right? Like, that card is checked in security, you're super happy, it's exactly what your deck wants. But even after that happens, you are not guaranteed anything, right? Like, it could be checked and you could whiff, or you only get maybe 1 like we saw here. Like, I'm pretty sure he runs like almost max Mamemon possible, so you almost have to. But that forces so many cards to your deck to just like be those Mamemons that you don't have room to play other stuff. But if you don't do that, then like those options and the bunch of Mamemon are just not as good, right? So I guess that's like the downfall of the Mamemon deck. And I guess while it is a cool deck, and I do encourage you guys to check it out and maybe try and come up with a good build, ultimately, you know, it's just not going to be the most consistent or powerful deck. Gonna go into a catch Mamemon. Again, one of the better cards for sure. Although at this point, like, he hasn't had a rookie, and now by putting 4 cards into the deck, like, boy, never seen a rookie, that's for sure. We're going to Creepy. At this point, this is like super game. Goes into Chaos Luce. Just everything can swing. He's got like 10 bodies on the board, right? I think he's like kind of scared of hitting something crazy in security, but at this point, I don't think there's really anything that can make a difference. I guess like playing it super safe is not necessarily wrong, right? And he definitely is playing super safe. 20 cards in trash, so mill 6, swing over the thing. See if any, well, this is the 4 that we saw, and then still no rookie. So kind of rough for the Mamemon player, but you know, it is what it is. Goes into a Lilith. At this point, there's no cards in his deck. But surely with this type of board, he will have game next turn, right? We finally see a rookie 10 years later. Anyway, though, this was a pretty fun match. I definitely want to showcase the Mamemon deck, and I hope you guys enjoyed, as well as the Creepymon. You know, a variety of ways to play Creepymon. I definitely want to see what people come up with. And now every card could just turn sideways, and that's gonna be game for Creepymon. We'll definitely keep more BT8 content coming. I'm gonna try and showcase some cool and different decks. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I mean, everything swings, right? Like, this game is taking way too long. There we go, finally. GG.